Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the People Processes podcast. I'm your host, Rami Alijil. I'm the CEO of People Processes, and I'm so excited you have joined me today. We're going to be answering a question that was submitted, and it's actually well addressed by a recent CMS ruling or guidance that was issued. So here's the question. Can an employer ask an employee whether they have family members who have COVID-19 symptoms associated with COVID-19? This answer may surprise you. You would think that this would be an easy one. Before we go too deep, though, I want to take a moment. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If this is information that's interesting to you, it makes a huge difference to us. If you're on YouTube especially, we're trying to grow our subscriber count on there, make a big difference. Also, check us out at peopleprocesses.com. Subscribe on there for subscriber-only content that we email out. Okay, this question is important because it comes out as, may an employer ask an employee whether they have family members who have COVID-19 or symptoms associated with COVID-19? The answer is no. You can't ask that question. Why? The Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, called GINA, it prohibits employers from asking employees medical questions about family members, and it is still in force. GINA does not prohibit an employer from asking employees whether they've had contact with anyone diagnosed with COVID-19 or may have symptoms associated with the disease. And the CDC recently issued guidance that said, from a public health perspective, only asking an employee about his contact with family members would unnecessarily limit the information obtained about an employee's potential exposure to COVID-19. So you do not want to ask about family, you need to ask about everyone. I know it's a silly wording change, but it makes a big difference. And I've seen clients or prospects and people I've worked with, people who come to us, ask this question wrong. And when you ask it, it is a GINA violation. So get the word family out of your attestation. Now, speaking of attestation, what is that? When an employee comes into work and you ask them, preferably in writing or some way of marking this, hey, have you been exposed to anyone with COVID-19 or COVID-19 symptoms since we saw you last, right? Since yesterday. And they answer no. They are attesting that. They are promising that. They are writing that down, right? Now, the way to keep track of that is what's called an attestation log. And of course, we have software to handle that in some of our kind of advanced timekeeping setups. But for many of you, it's just going to be, if you got a couple of employees, you simply want to make a log each day of the people you ask that question to who come into your facility and mark what they said. Obviously, if the answer is, yes, I have, then the answer is to send them out to go get tested, right? You need to ask the question, though. It shows due diligence. It shows best practice. It shows that you care about your other employees. And to a degree, it kind of covers your butt. There's another podcast we just did that's about a large company that basically took no precautions. And these sorts of things would make a big difference in them asking. Speaking of that, a lot of companies are taking temperature, which is totally fine. You can completely do that. Keep in mind, though, that the records of temperature are medical information. What I recommend instead of actually writing down their temperatures is simply writing down over 98.6 or under 98.6 or has fever, yes or no, right? And then write in a policy what a fever means to you. Maybe it's over 98, 99, something like 98.6 is the norm. Maybe you say 99, 99.2, something like that. Anything over that, you got to send them away for a test. But simply marking yes or no, it's still health information, but it's significantly less dangerous to keep on file. And that information should be kept separate from the employee's personnel files and limited only to people that need to have access to that information, okay? If a manager records it, for example, at multiple locations, that should go into a broader system, and the manager shouldn't be able to go look up 2 weeks ago and see if they had a fever then. They could record the information, but not have access to it in the long run. So, don't ask about family. Ask about general contact with anyone. If you take temperatures, cool. Mark whether it's simply a fever or not the actual temperature, and keep those logs safe. One thing I want to remind you guys of, there's a digital summit coming up October 15th and 16th here of 2020. You can find information at peopleprocesses.com. Big banner on the front. Click there to register. It is free to attend. It's all day, the 15th and the 16th. You don't have to be there for the whole thing, but by registering, you save your spot, free attendance, and we're going to be covering amazing topics. We have 12 guest speakers taking up the days they're going to be doing those. I'll be speaking a little bit, but mainly it'll be them. And they will be talking about everything from onboarding and recruitment to retention, to what to do with ex-employees, management processes, the one-on-one. I'm really excited. I know I'm going to be at every session, and I just can't wait to learn from these great HR titans. Now, take a look, peopleprocesses.com. Subscribe on there if you hadn't. Review the episode. Subscribe on YouTube. I'd sure appreciate it. Now it's time for you to go out there, have a great day, and get your work done. I'll see you tomorrow.